Good morning. Today I'm joined by Matthew Davidson. Matthew is the co-founder and CEO of Places. Places is a dining discovery app that is making big waves in Dubai. So to quote Matthew, our mission at Places is to revolutionize the way people discover dining experiences by providing the most powerful, user-friendly platform to explore restaurants, bars, cafes, and more. Matthew, welcome.
Morning, Herman. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, lovely to have you here. So, we're all from somewhere. Maybe you can start off by kind of give us a little bit of background on, what brought you to Dubai and how long have you been here?
Yeah, I mean, Dubai lately has been really one of the hottest cities, and the UAE in general around the world, certainly post-pandemic. So a lot of people are moving here currently, but I've been here through the last couple of decades. And what brought me to Dubai originally was I used to crave. I come from the north of England where it's very dark and cold in the winters. So I used to
Yeah,
crave winter sun, and I used to go to primarily the Canary Islands in January, the islands off the coast of Africa, Spanish islands.
right.
And it's nice warm temperature in January, early 20 Celsius. So one year I went there and had rain for a week, and I came back and I said to some friends, "Oh, I can't go through this winter. I've had no sun." I genuinely do have seasonal affective disorder.
Yeah,
And I said, I wish there was one place that was sunny all the time. And
right.
they said there is, the Middle East.
Yeah,
Go to Dubai, and this is a couple of decades ago, so I'm saying, where's Dubai? Is that place where they have that hotel that's like a sale? Because that had just opened then, Burj Al
all
Arab.
right.
I
Yeah,
said, yeah, that's a place. So the following year, I came to Dubai and had a fantastic vacation here. It was sunny,
yeah.
thanks to God. It was sunny, and well, one thing I noticed was all the cranes were coming out of the ground, and this place was really, I think at the time, a third of the world's cranes in the entire world were here.
Oh,
And
yes.
went back and I had an automotive consultancy business in the UK. And I went back to my business partner and I said, this place is going to be the hottest ticket. You need to see this place. So we came out then as more as a business trip slash holiday
Okay.
the following year. And we were just blown away by the community, the growth of the city. And we said, there's an opportunity here to be an intermediary for expats. So helping them arrive, buy their car, helping them get set up, navigate the RTA, etc. And we decided to come out here, and we formed a company called Expat Wheels, and
Okay.
that was one of the first convenient car transaction businesses in the region. Uh, and we never owned assets. We simply helped people buy cars by cutting through the noise and making sure the car was inspected and they weren't buying a lemon. And
Yeah.
in terms on the selling side, we would help them with the process of actually listing the car for them, handling the viewings. They could still retain the car themselves, use it, go to work, etc. But we would work around it. So we would bring people to the car, show them the car as experts. And this business grew and grew. And a fun fact, we never spent one single dirham on marketing right until the day we sold the business, because it grew as a kind of underground business for the expat community. Everybody said, you go to Matthew and Tony if you want to buy and sell a car in Dubai.
Incredible.
So, fast forward to 2015, late 2014, early 15, Davidson had grown to be one of the big portals here. And their parent company was OLX at the time. And
Hmm.
they said, look, we love what you're doing. It's kind of a VIP concierge business for expats here. And with Davidson, you can just post your car online, but there isn't a service like this. We want to partner with you to offer a professional side, a VIP side to our offering. So we did partner with Davidson, and then you had an option on the platform, which is sell it yourself or use sell it for me, which is what that was called within the Davidson framework, and that was us, powered by Expat Wheels. And it was an incredibly successful partnership. And after about a year, they came to us and said, look, the parent company, they don't like this relationship. And I said, why? It's fantastic. They said, yeah, we know it's fantastic, but we want to buy you. We don't like to do these type of deals.
Yeah.
So OLX and Davidson acquired the business in 2016, late 2016. As part of that process, I then stayed on to head up the motor services division and build out what is known as Davidson Motors today. And that was a 4-year deal.
But so the run up from that was like from the early 2000s until 2014. So that's, I mean, that you and your partner ran that business.
We Expat Wheels for us was this dream business. It wasn't, a massive team. I say it wasn't a massive team. It was, by the time we were acquired, we were 25, 26 people. But it was above a lifestyle business, certainly. But we were happy. We were living in what we perceived as paradise. We loved the culture. We'd really embedded ourselves into the region. So everything was fine. We were making money. Everything was good. But in terms of post the sale, then the dynamics of everything changes, right? Because you're taking your experience and know-how and everything, but now you're applying it at corporate level. So the time that was due to kind of come to an end was exactly when the pandemic struck, which is the beginning of 2020. And like many people in my position, I mean, Tim Clark's a famous guy, example, at the head of Emirates Airlines. He was due to retire exactly as the pandemic struck. And we were all kind of required to see our businesses through this pandemic, right? That's your responsibility. And that's exactly what I did. And I felt the worst was over in Feb 21.
Right.
And I said, okay, I've done my commitments, but I was itching to have my own business back. It's for anybody watching. Once you're an entrepreneur and you run your own businesses, it's very, very difficult to have it any other way. I'm not saying it's not enjoyable, but it's the control thing, really. I mean, so I left in Feb 21. I sat on my hands for about 2 or 3 weeks, driving my wife up the wall.
That long, yeah.
And I said, right, I need to start another business. And I'd had an idea to sort of really revolutionize an area that should have been digitalized but wasn't, which was vehicle inspections. And many, because that was my field of expertise. Cars in general. And believe it or not, you'd go to a garage, someone would come out with a clipboard and a pen and say, well, you have an oil leak here, and this is wrong, and you need to change your tires, etc. And it was very archaic, going back to the beginning of when vehicles hit the road. I mean, it had been that way. So I created a product called Axle, AXLE, simply thinking of a name that was future-proof. Even electric cars have axles, right? So the product was a fully digital experience where an inspector punches in the chassis. It auto extracts all the information from the factory of their car. So Mazda, CX-5, etc. Put 2015, puts all the details in. And then it takes the inspector through a journey. And we had two types of inspections, a basic and advanced. So you'd start by checking the paintwork and looking for accidents, and you'd go through, do a full engine check, gearbox check, test drive, etc., etc.
Yeah.
It would allow you to take photos, video, everything. So I started on building out this business, and I was 3 months into it, hadn't even officially launched. And there's an automotive and data company in the region called Algo Driven. They'd just been growing like crazy and got Series A funding. And I was in talks with them for different things, for data and software when I was at Davidson, and I knew the team there. So I said, I want to utilize your VIN capabilities, the chassis numbers matching for the software.
Yeah.
And they said, great, we can provide you with that, as an API, an interface, we can give you that information. So great. But then the founders came back and said, look, we need to have a call. We want to do what you're doing, and we want to build something similar to what you're doing. We also just raised this money, and we would like a sort of seasoned petrol head in the business. We'd like to acquire your business.
Oh, and this was how long? 3 months.
3 months maximum.
Oh my goodness.
I hadn't even started building the software or anything yet.
Oh my word.
Ordinarily, I would have immediately said no for many reasons. But people forget already that February 21, we were out of the worst of the pandemic, but there was a lot of scary stories, and is it going to come back, and are we going to have more lockdowns and everything? And I remember just having a conversation with my wife, and she's saying, well, this is a security for us. This is a job with a growing company and all the benefits that you get, again, with working for people. So insurance, etc. And the deal was weighted around a lot of stock as well, stock options. So, yeah, I took that deal. And then I was about, I guess, to be very honest, a year into that business. And I was stuck where I was before, where I didn't really have any control over direction or anything like that. The business didn't go in the direction that I wanted to and support what my vision was to build. I mean, they had so many verticals, and vehicle inspections just wasn't a priority for them, although they wanted to get heavily into that side. Other stuff overwhelmed them. And they burned through their investment quite quickly, which meant attention needed to be on other sides of the business. So look, I'm a professional guy, but I want to keep moving forward. So I'd always had this idea. I like to digitalize things and like to disrupt things, and I'd always had this frustration from being in this region for so long around dining discovery. And as an entrepreneur, you're always told to solve problems, right? First question, are you fixing a problem? And before we get too much into places, because I want to tie the bow on this, that's where places started, the genesis of the idea. But before I go into that, I want to just tie some other bows about things that I've done in the region. So along this journey of cars and expat wheels and Davidson, I got involved with a few things. There's one of the biggest interactive radio shows in the region is on Dubai Eye. It's called Motormania, and I had the privilege of being on that for many years as a car expert, car guru. And people used to call into the show live, unscripted, and just ask me questions. I've got this car. It's a 2014 LR4 with 160,000 kilometers. How much is it worth? Or I've got this problem with the car. And it was a fun experience, actually. Every Saturday morning, everyone would dial in. And this really supported what I was doing with Davidson as well, because it was at the same time and helped. It was free branding. You get to be introduced as Matthew Davidson from Davidson every weekend. So I think they benefited arguably more than me even, but it was a really fun experience.
Yeah.
The other thing that I had the pleasure of being involved in, and I still, to an extent, am involved in. There's one of the largest supercar and hypercar clubs in the Middle East. It's called Supercars Majlis,
Okay.
run by a group of incredible enthusiasts. And in 2018, I was very blessed to be brought onto the management team.
Okay.
It's not a for-profit business. They basically organize events around for supercar and hypercar owners. It's grown from 2016 to now, nearly 10 years. It's grown to 500 members with more than 1,000 super and hypercars.
Wow.
They're the guys that you see doing all the huge events all over the region.
Yeah.
So I got to be involved in that and help them grow what is just unbelievable. If you go to Supercars Majlis or SEM on Instagram, I'm sure you'll find more about what Supercars Majlis do.
I'm looking
So
forward to
along this journey, I've got to really integrate with this region. My view is this is home for me. I've never felt more comfortable than I do in this region, and it's
that.
not for the reasons that most people say. Oh, Dubai's safe and it's tax free or any of these. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about even from day one, this felt like home. I'm very detached from singular culture. I'm
Okay.
I'm very British in the way I talk and sound, but that's about the limits of my Britishness.
That's-
I'm more at peace internally when I'm surrounded by different cultures and people, whether it's friends that I've got from around the Middle East, Emiratis, Egyptian, Lebanese, whether it's Indian, Pakistani, going out to the Far East countries, Philippines,
Yeah.
Japan, etc. I like culture.
Right.
I think it's what makes humanity great, when you can sit with somebody and get involved in culture. And I think that's what I love about this region, where you've got 200 nationalities. Whether you're
Yeah.
talking to a guy on a podcast from South Africa, or you're
Right.
talking to somebody in the lift in your building that's from Colombia. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm a recent,
this is for me what's great.
it's amazing, right? I mean, I'm a recent transplant to Dubai, as you know, and but I've lived as an expat in many different countries, and the culture that I found in Dubai, it's absolutely amazing because you think about it, it's basically one massive expat community to a large extent, and so everyone's here from somewhere else in a foreign culture, and everyone's trying to make a go of it and make a buck and whatever. And what I found, um, people are generally very, very open to help and to give advice and to support, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's the best culture from all the places I've lived. It's the best place I've lived from a business culture perspective. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I kind of have always felt that we have a responsibility to protect and grow this city.
Yeah,
I kind of always ask myself a question of what I'm doing that keeps us moving forward. What I'm doing that makes the city better. I mean, through my businesses here, I've always tried to make things better. I mean, one quick example was, if you buy car auto finance here,
hmm.
it's not as painful as it used to be. If you go back a decade ago,
Right.
if you went to, say, Emirates MBD Bank and said, I want to buy a loan, I want to get a loan to buy a car,
Yeah,
part of that process was you used to have to get an evaluation certificate.
right,
And that means they would give you a long list of approved evaluators. So
okay,
you'd have a car dealer on Sheikh Zayed Road. You'd have to organize for the car that you're buying to be there, because the person you're buying the car from, in most cases, was not an approved evaluator. So you'd have to organize the car to be there. Then someone would come out of that showroom and walk around the car and say, okay, uh, it's worth 75,000, but maybe you're buying it for 80. So now you have a problem with a shortfall. But
Mm.
putting that aside, even if they say, okay, it's worth 80,000, they would then say, okay, come back at 4 o'clock. You'd have a certificate, paper stamped, that you'd pay
Mm.
300, 400 dirhams for.
Yeah.
That would then be waited to be picked up from the bank and sent to the bank. That would go through processing in the bank, and 5 days later, your loan would move to the next stage.
Yeah.
And I thought this was insane. So just before Expat Wheels was sold to Davidson, I created a digital evaluation certificate.
Mm-hmm.
And how it worked is the evaluator could go to the car with an iPad. They as part of the evaluation, they were required to take pictures, which is the same as the certificate. But they used to just write information down. I made it better by taking photos. You'd take a photo of the chassis and then the photo of the registration document to show they matched. You'd take photos of kilometers, and it would all wrap it up into a digital certificate that
Yeah.
when you hit send, automatically went directly to the bank.
Okay.
So we took a process that took 5 days and we took it down to 5 minutes.
Right. Right.
And it took me about 2 years to get the first bank, Emirates NBD, to adopt this. And then eventually all the other banks fell over. But I didn't patent this. I didn't protect it in any way. It was just my gift to the community. And now anybody that gets an evaluation certificate anywhere in this country, it's done by digital means.
Yeah.
And I think this is what I'm saying. What are we all doing? What are we all building? What that's going to take this great country forward?
Yes.
And that's what I like about being here. Actually, I like the sense of, sometimes you'll go to the beach and you'll see, I don't know, 50 people on a Sunday morning. They've all got together and they're going to do a beach cleanup. I know this isn't exclusive to this region, but these are the things I'm talking about. What are we all doing to make sure that this country stays at number one?
Right.
This country moves forward.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, that's such a positive kind of attitude just to have about life in general. Not just about your community, but that's the way to inspire other people and to move things forward. From that point, what kind of led you to the dining discovery? Because I'm trying to figure that out. Because you said there's something that led to the dining discovery idea. Because we've got Google Maps, we've got TripAdvisor, we've got all of these things available to us. What did you see? What did you see as a problem in the market that led you to Places?
Yeah, there's two parts to it. There was me being frustrated. I'll give you a top level example. I'd be driving down Sheikh Zayed Road on a Saturday morning, and my wife would say, "Let's go to one of those new cafes we saw. Where did we see it? On YouTube, Instagram, whatever." Then I'm saying, "Okay," and she's trying to scroll through her phone and look, and we're passing Oasis Center, we're passing Mall of the Emirates, and then we're at the exit for Palm Jumeirah or something, and we're like, okay, we're just going to go home, or we're just going to go to where we normally go. And that I could give you 100 different examples of being in the house and saying, right, let's have a date night or something. Or where do you want to go? Or you pick the cuisine. Oh, I don't know where to go. And it was, these type of things were, I think everybody can relate to them. So that's part one. When you look at the existing legacy platforms, Google Maps to me is just in time. It's not a discovery platform. Google and Google Maps are great for me to type something like sushi samba, and it's going to show me sushi samba with photos and reviews and give me the Google Map directions to get there. But it's not a great platform for me to say, tell me about sushi places in Dubai. Right. And when even if you punch that into Google itself, that exact phrase I just said, there'd be sometimes articles, maybe an old Time Out article from 2023 or something.
Hmm.
And it was all, places have closed down or there's not new places. So you're in a world now. We're fast forwarding to this time where people want information fast. People aren't stupid, but they're lazy now, and people just want things in their hand. We've been conditioned. One click checkout on Amazon. We've been conditioned for speed and for information in our hands. So if you take all of that and bear in mind, this is in my thought process. And then when my time at Algo Driven was coming to an end, I thought, what more can I do in automotive?
Yes.
I've built businesses. I've been involved in every part of automotive, and I could answer any question. You could challenge me still today and ask me anything about cars, and I'm sure I could answer it.
Hmm.
But where do I go next? And as a guy that's now starting his 50s, I thought, I want to do something that really is big. I want to do something that is different, that I can take my entire life's skills and everything that I've learned and put it to use. And I thought, well, if you're going to build a really great business today, it's got to be around tech, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be an app or a platform. And this is where it all kind of started, and then I started thinking, well, what do I want this product to be? And in October of 2022, ChatGPT had started to get traction, and I thought, look, the market's going to move towards open searching, contextual searching. People are going to start saying, and more products and services, they're going to start writing and talking contextually. Hey, Alexa, put some 80s music on. When you're in your Tesla, turn the temperature down. It just turns the
Hmm.
temperature down. When you're writing your email, make this email sound more professional. So it was obvious that was where everything was going to go. So I knew that that was in my mind. And the second part was I wanted an experience that was kind of very Google-esque, which means you just have an interface where you write what you want. In other
Yes.
words, find me a new cafe in Alcuz. Make sure it's got scrambled eggs on the menu and a Spanish latte. I wanted you to have that freedom to write openly in a simple interface, or talk in a simple interface, but then it packages the information in a way that's so easy to digest that it just goes boom, boom, boom. There's 5 new places that's open lately that has your Spanish latte and has your scrambled eggs.
Hmm.
So this was the idea.
Okay.
And then the next part is, well, what do I call this business, and how do I start putting together the Avengers? In other words, the best people possible to build this.
Yeah.
So that's how it came about. My desire to actually do something. I felt like I had one big business that I wanted to build, and I wanted to do it in a space that I was passionate about, that involved digitalization and data and everything that is my wheelhouse.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And as you then kind of started off on that process of building the business, what kind of challenges did you find in the early days, that you can tell us about?
The name is an interesting one because
Yeah.
I've always followed the principle that your name, in the best possible way, should be as short as possible. Obviously, it should
Hmm.
try and say what you do. So in the case of expat wheels, we're helping expats find their wheels. Wheels is a
Sure.
is a term that we use for cars, right?
Right.
Nice wheels.
Yeah.
So and also preferably that you can capture. It's not as important as much today, but you can capture the domain for it. So I was trying to think of everything for the name of this business. Okay, what is it? A dining search? What is it? So we'll call it like super search. We'll call it super food. What you start going for a million names, and
Mm.
this is rattling on for about a month, and every time I open a document or something, it's like saying, well, this place is this, and you should go to this place and everything. So then I went out of interest, not thinking I would call it Who Owns Places.
Right.
And I realized it was a real estate company, places.com, a small one in Europe.
Okay.
But then I went, okay, well, who owns Places UAE or
Yeah.
Places KSA or Places Qatar? And they were all available as .coms. So I was
Okay.
buying them all and everything, and I was like, right, I'm going to call this company Places.
Yeah.
It says what it does on the tin. It's easy to remember. It's 5 letters. It's short.
Yeah.
So that happened. The next part was, well, you should know as an entrepreneur or a business owner what you're good at, and then you make sure that you surround yourself with people to fill in the gaps. And I knew that starting with a CTO and going out from there. So chief tech
Okay.
officer is someone that's critical if you're building a tech company, unless you're the technical part of the
Sure.
business. And I knew, although I understand the technology side. I'm not a technical person. I'm not a coder, etc. I'm good with data. I can read data sets and I understand data incredibly well. So my first mission was to put together the tech team and go out from there, because this business is really it's predominantly tech and data. So you have your tech and data teams. It's sales and marketing.
Yes.
That's the core part. So, and I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to build the damn Avengers. And I went out and I wanted the best of the best. And we have the best of the best. And we have incredible CTO. We have an incredible tech team. We have a vein running through the business of people that know exactly what we're building, where we're going, and have an unwavering desire to win.
Hmm.
And then after that is building. And I think every tech founder in the world will say, has and will say what I'm going to say next, which is, if you knew how difficult this was going to be, you never would have started it. I know that Jensen Young at NVIDIA says this.
Yeah.
Elon Musk has said, running these type of businesses is falling into the abyss, into broken glass, or
Hmm.
and it is, but it's kind of like having a child, actually. When your kid's lying on its belly, kicking and screaming in the middle of the mall, you're like, what what have I done? But once that child's yours and in the world, you would never go back, right? You could
That's it.
say
That's it.
you can't change that. And actually, a business is very similar to that. It's
Mm.
like, if you never started it, it would be easy to say, right, I'm not going to, if you were foreshadowed what was going to come next, you wouldn't go for it. But it's like the same with a child. Before you had the child, if someone walked you through all the pain and suffering that you're going to
Yeah.
have, but once you have that child, it's like, no way, this
Yeah.
is the best thing. This is the best thing that ever happened to me.
That's it.
Business is the same. For
Yeah.
every, and anyone that's been through a business is probably nodding now. For every pain and suffering that you go through, there's also the elation. There's also the bit that makes you go, I wouldn't change it for anything.
Right.
Um,
It's that journey, right? It's that journey of, yeah, yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of risk, but I mean, that's what the journey itself becomes the reward, isn't it?
it's not the predictable stuff, right? It's not
Yeah.
like, oh, you're going to run out of cash flow, or you're going to have
Yeah.
this problem. It's the stuff that blindsides you on a Tuesday morning, that you're just
Yeah.
not expecting to come from anywhere. That's the stuff that catches you out. It
Right.
shouldn't be the obvious. It shouldn't be the obvious stuff. I mean, if you can't plan cash flow very well and you can't do all the basic stuff, then you need to study that and learn that before starting a
Mm.
business, because the basic stuff is going to, of course, trip you up. If you run out of cash, it's going to trip you up, of course. But
Yeah.
it's the stuff that you don't plan for that hits you hard, and that can be unrelated to business. Unfortunately, life gets in the way. People have to
Mhm.
deal with family stuff. Everybody gets old, and everyone has parents and grandparents that leave us, and all this
Mhm.
type of stuff. So, it's not just business stuff that comes and hits you hard. It's the personal side as well.
Yeah. Matt, so while there, before we move on to the other stuff, is there any kind of advice that you would give someone that's in that process now of navigating the early stages of a startup? That you've built many businesses. What kind of two or three things that you've learned that these are the really most important things that you need to kind of to take care of?
Yeah, I'm gonna sidestep places with this question because
Sure.
I don't think you would want to start a business like Places unless you were very experienced and well funded because
Sure.
uh, our seed for this business, actually our pre-seed and seed combined, is we've raised over 1.6 million US dollars, and you
Mm.
need that level of money to build if you're going to do it properly anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll come on to how we compete from a tech perspective. We're probably outside of the big tech companies. We're probably better than anything else.
Mm.
And I don't mean that from a standpoint of arrogance. I mean it from a standpoint is we've built unicorn grade infrastructure. We've built stuff that you will not see outside of the biggest tech companies.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sidestep that because that
Sure.
isn't typical. But if you take a business like Expat Wheels,
Yeah.
start at the very basics and say, what problem am I solving? Okay. How can I get a POC, a proof of concept, as quickly as possible? So with Expat Wheels, it's very interesting. You start with you don't want to build this on your own, by the way. I mean, this I'm not a fan of solopreneurs, people that start businesses on their own, right? Because it's just too damn hard to get through businesses. You need at least one co-founder. But we can come
Why
back to
is
that
that?
topic. But
Why do you
in
say?
terms of,
Why do you say? Is it just
I
too
don't, I,
much pressure? Or?
I don't believe, I don't believe in it on so many levels. First level is, um, nobody understands you. Nobody will really understand what it's like and what you're going through. Your friends have their lives and their problems. So does even your direct family. You need somebody that can help with the workload, especially in the early days, but can also be a mental support network for you that you can go through this with somebody together. And absolute minimum, you need somebody to co-found a business with you, or somebody that's part of the business. The
Right.
second reason is statistically, if you do build quite successful businesses, most VCs will not invest in. Check this data out yourself. Most VCs don't like to invest in solopreneurs. They treat it like they treat it like key man. What if something
Team and
happens to
risk. Yeah.
you? Yeah,
Right.
it's a risk. It's key man risk. What if something happens to you?
Yeah.
Having a key person in a business. I'll give you an example. Um, Steve Jobs, you could say, was so important to Apple, right?
Right.
So absolutely important to Apple. And when he passed on, everyone thought that was the end of Apple. It wasn't, because Apple wasn't just Steve Jobs. They
Right.
had Tim Cook waiting in the wings that had been with the business a long time, that was an
Mhm.
incredible COO, an operational guy. Yeah, Johnny Ive, which was this incredible mastermind behind his design, and so on and so forth. So Apple just didn't survive; it thrived. And if you look at Elon Musk, if Elon Musk disappeared, would it be an Steve Jobs moment? Sure, but would SpaceX carry on? I'm pretty
Cool.
sure it would. Would
Yeah.
Tesla carry on? I'm pretty sure it would.
Sure.
Um, and But if it was just only Steve Jobs at Apple and just only Elon Musk at one of his businesses like Tesla, then it's different gravy, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to invest when one individual is so influential to the business?
Mm.
So for those reasons alone, and I can carry on giving you reasons, but those reasons alone, what are you trying to be a solopreneur for? You think you can do it all yourself? You
Mm.
want the big man badge on your shirt, do you? Find somebody that's complementary to you, because I guarantee you don't know everything. You might be
Yeah.
good at sales and marketing, but are you good at finance? Are you good with numbers? Are you
Right.
good on a tech side or whatever the business that you're involved in? So
Hmm.
I'm not saying it's impossible for you to be, and good luck to every solopreneur out there. I'm just saying, personally, I don't think it's great.
Okay.
But going back
Yeah.
to it. So you have or you haven't got somebody by your side. Let's say, look, find out if people want your business and your services with a minimal effort before you spend any real money. I'll give
Mm.
you a quick example. I can think of a lot of examples, but the DoorDash is a food delivery company,
Yeah.
huge company in the States. Do you know
Right.
how they started? Very simple, right? They wanted to order food to their dormitory. They were university students, and there wasn't an easy way to get that food.
Okay.
So they came up with an idea, and this is way before food delivery was a thing. They came up with an idea that they built a website, and they went and met a couple of guys on the campus that they also thought would come in on this. So I believe it was 3 or 4 guys. So they built a website together, and they simply just put popular restaurants on it. They didn't talk to these restaurants. They put, the Thai kitchen on there, the steakhouse, whatever. And then they said on their website, order food from DoorDash.
Yeah.
And then they put the site live, and then they got an order, and a guy said, I want a pad Thai from the Thai restaurant. So they're like, oh, we got one. They
Yeah.
jumped on their bicycle. They jumped on their bicycle. They rode to the Thai restaurant, got the food that they'd called in and said, make me a pad Thai. They took it to the guy's house and said, there's your pad Thai. That's a
Hmm.
POC.
Right.
And they started that. They proved they had a business, and then the website hits were going up, and they got more orders, and then they started to build out a tech stack. They started to
Mm.
meet restaurants and said, would you like to be on our platform, etc. So
Mm.
if you go back to the beginning of that story, what are they doing? They're proving the concept in the absolute most simplest possible way to prove that they have a business before they throw any real money behind tech, marketing, anything. So if you have a business, go out
Yeah.
there and do the minimum required.
Mm.
That's how a business starts, because everybody's got an idea, right? I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever met a human being that doesn't have an idea for a business.
Yeah, but there's no
But
market
actually,
for ideas, right? There's ideas in and by themselves there's no place where you can sell ideas or buy ideas because they have no value of their own until they're proven to be a useful idea, as in your example. Um,
you can create a business that is making a product for product's sake, right? You can make something that's you know, it's not just required. I don't know, a device for opening your microwave doors, easier than whatever, something that's completely useless and made for the
yeah,
sake of it. Or you can build something that you think's a home run, but people just don't want it.
right, right.
It just doesn't take off. People just don't want it. So you need to
Yeah,
prove that people want it.
yeah. That's probably the biggest thing I come across as well. Working with startups and talking to people is because people come from their own perspective. Well, I know how to code, so let me go and I think I must build this thing, and then because I have the skill and I have a bit of runway in terms of my cash flow, well, let me build this thing. And then they get
Yeah.
to the end and like, yeah, nobody actually cares, or I didn't really do much market research, so this thing actually already exists for a tenth of the price that I think I'm going to sell it for. I came across someone the other day that was building an online accounting platform, a billing platform. They're like, what are you doing? There's QuickBooks, there's all of these other platforms that have been around for 20 years. That's your competition, right? But it's just this, yeah. So that is absolutely crucial that people find the product market fit.
Well,
Um,
there's nothing wrong with building an alternative to QuickBooks, but if it's adding value, if it's a new
100%,
type
yeah,
of technology or something that's different, but if you're just going to build a copy paste of it, you
exactly.
know, um, if you're just going to open a shawarma store next to a very successful shawarma store, I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's going to be difficult, right? But if you're opening
Um,
one that's a new type of bread, and the meat's different, and the pricing structure is different, and you can deliver faster or whatever, then, well, okay, it's not a bad thing to open it next door, right?
yeah. Yeah. Getting back to places, AI is a big talking point at the moment. What else do you see in that industry or in tech in general as trends that we need to be aware of, that things we need to keep an eye open for, going forward?
Yeah, I mean, very, very quickly, Places, you can get the app for free at placesue.com, or just put Places UE into the Play or Apple App Store. Um, it's very, very simple. It uses the AI component of it is open searching. It understands what you're writing. So you can say, I want a cafe on Blue Waters open before 8 a.m. on Saturday that has a Spanish latte for under 25 dirhams. Believe it or not, it'll understand all of that and find you if there is a place that's open before 8 on Saturday that has a Spanish latte.
Hmm.
And as I said earlier, part of the thinking behind this is we believe that's where everybody's going. No way people are going to be using filters in the next year or so. Are you really going to go onto an app and go, Blue Waters as an area, cuisine, international,
Yeah,
opening hours
right.
before 8? People aren't going to do it anymore
Yes.
because I told you they're lazy now. They're not stupid. They're lazy. They want information fast, one click checkout, etc. So that was part one of the thinking. The second part was people want all the information in their hand. So don't just build an app with 500 of the best places in Dubai. Build an app with all 11,000 restaurants, bars, and cafes, index every single one of their menus, 3.5 million menu items. So that's what we did,
Hmm.
simply because you can ask it, I want a fine dining a restaurant on Palm Jumeirah with private dining for 20 people, right? That's the
Yeah.
extreme. It will find it out. Or you can say, I want a chai tea for under 2 dirhams in Bur Dubai, or a shawarma for under 5 dirhams in Dira, or near me, or whatever. It will serve the whole gambit, the whole range of F&B. And we knew that if we really wanted to compete with Google, if we really wanted to give a better experience, it was a combination of AI and having that incredible data. So look, AI is definitely here. We approached it in a different way. Our AI component is not a large language model. We built our own AI model. We're still one of a very few private companies that did. Most AI you use is, even if it looks like a company built it's just an API and an application interface into a large language model like ChatGPT.
Hmm.
Um, Building your own model is different gravy, completely different. So
So
we
what was your
wanted
approach
our,
then to building your infrastructure?
well, we understood what we wanted to build first of all. So our core focus was the data. All of the data that we have on places, we've curated ourselves. We've not gone out and just plugged into Google for the data. So every restaurant, bar, and cafe, our team have validated everything, put all the information into our system. That was part one. So that's why we have so much information. A good example is ask for
So you,
coffee.
your company owns all of the information that you curated.
Yeah, it's ours. I'll
That's fantastic.
give you, if you're listening and interested, do this test. Say, I want the cheapest coffee in Global Village, and use ChatGPT, use Gemini, use Google, use anything, and look at the results you get. And then say on places, I want the cheapest coffee in Global Village. We will scan all 409, I believe, places in Global Village, and even Global Village only lists that they have 100 on their own website. We will scan all of the places, and we will give you the exact pricing for coffee in ascending order. Google
Hmm.
just falls flat. I think it even starts recommending places away from Global Village.
Yeah.
Gemini, ChatGPT can't even help you with that. So having your own data and managing it allows a situation where you get the right amount of choice for the user. In this case, we've got everything in Global Village, but we also are able to, our model is able to identify exactly what you want, in this case, the cheapest coffee, and present it in a format. So having your own model and having your own data is how we win. And a lot of businesses, people come to me and say, oh, well, ChatGPT is going to just eat your lunch. Really? Put it head to head. Put it head to head. Put searches
Yeah.
into ChatGPT and then tell me why. And the answer is simple. ChatGPT's got all of humanity's data. Every time you say to it, I want a coffee for under 10 dirhams in Al Quoz, it's diving in and it's going past the history of the Eiffel Tower, how quantum physics works, the entire works of Shakespeare, to somehow get you your answer about coffees in Al Quoz. So what happens is you get different answers every single time. Sometimes the answers don't make sense. If we've got anybody listening that uses these large language models a lot, you sometimes have arguments with it. You're like, are you serious with this answer? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just in training or I'm just learning.
Yeah.
And you can't blame it. It's going into trillions of data points. I'll
Yes.
give you a good example. I've hidden a 1 dirham coin in the sand in Kite Beach. Go and find it, right? Every time, and with it, just with your hands, by the way, in case anyone's smart thinking I use a metal detector, I'm saying just with your hands, go and find it. How long is that going to take you?
Yeah.
ChatGPT, every time is crawling through the sand of information to get you this answer. With Places, we've got a lightweight model with our own information. So when you dive in, our sand is about this much. So finding that
Yes.
coin, you find it precisely in the same location every single time.
Mm.
So Sequoia Capital, one of the biggest investment firms on the planet, Y Combinator, Michael, the CEO of Y Combinator, are all coming out now and saying that the future isn't plugging into large language models. The future is businesses building vertical specific lightweight models. So, for example, a pharmacy has a lot of medicine, right? A lot of
Yeah.
drugs and medicine. Imagine building a lightweight model that could search for, as a customer says, I've got a headache, but I don't want any aspirin. I can only have paracetamol, but I only want to spend 10 dirhams. It's
Yeah.
going in now to that amount of information.
Mm.
Or I don't know, an app that's focused on sports, say a baseball in America, and it wants you to answer questions on baseball. The large language model's got to go past all of humanity's data, where the person that builds that lightweight model for baseball fans, you can ask it questions. So
Mm.
was Babe Ruth really the best hitter ever in the history of baseball? And what was his stats and everything? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just plucking examples, but lightweight, vertical specific models. Imagine, it hasn't been done, but imagine here in Dubai, you're looking for property,
Mm.
and somebody builds a platform that just says, right, I want a 2-bedroom apartment, can't be less than 1,200 square feet, needs to have at least 2 parking spaces. I want somewhere close to the water, and I only want to spend this much.
Yeah.
Imagine if somebody built that for property here, rather than going on to the big property platforms and going da 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 da, Palm
Mhm.
Jumeirah, da 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 da, amenities, bedroom, square footage, etc. So I
Yes.
think it's pretty clear where the future is. The future is definitely going to be contextual searching using
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
Large language models will handle stuff that they do very, very good. Um, I find, for example, ChatGPT very good with written literal requests. So
Yes.
make this email better, because of the way
Yes.
that they were first,
Yes.
the way that the large language models were first trained. They were trained on a sequence of probability. If I say I'm walking down the road, how many times has that sentence been written in human history? So after down, it's likely the word "the" is going to come next. So this is how
Mhm.
large language models were originally built on probability of what word should come next.
Mhm.
But actually, I find math questions. If you go onto ChatGPT and write 9 next line 8, next line 3, next line 12, and then say, give me the total of this. Not all the time, but sometimes it'll give you the wrong total. And are you sure? Just a basic
Yeah.
request, but it
Right.
seems to struggle. It seems to struggle with numbers, although it's getting better.
Mm.
But literal stuff, it does quite well for the reasons I
Yeah.
said. So, look, I think large language models are going to have their place, and they're going to grow. But for vertical specific stuff, it'll be a long time, many years before they can compete with lightweight, because by the nature of how they're growing, it's also their Achilles heel, because more
Right.
information goes
Right.
in to make it better, right? But
Yes.
that's more sarcasm, that's more lies, that's more misinformation mixed in,
Yes.
and that's
Yes.
the problem with large language models. Humanity has put too much infactualities into stuff. Humanity is told too
Yes.
many jokes. Humanity is told has sarcasm, etc. So
Mm.
all of it's not a pure form, the data in
You're
large
right.
language models.
You're right. Yeah.
And that's why it's dangerous to think they're a panacea. I certainly
Mm.
wouldn't give ChatGPT a bunch of accounts, let it check it all and sign off and send it to audit. Not a chance ever
Yeah.
would I do that.
Yeah.
No
But
way.
there might be a lightweight application like that coming out that is super focused and super tuned for doing that one thing really really well. And that's what you're saying. We're going to get these different verticals coming in and be really good at doing one thing.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for. Let me give you an analogy that's perfect, right? When
Mm.
the iPhone first launched, there was no app store. You just had the fixed, whatever it was, 15 apps that came with the phone, and that was it. Mail,
Yeah.
photos, etc. When the App Store was launched, people started building specific things. They were starting
Mm.
building apps for specific tasks. You would
Mm.
find, I don't know, an app for mountain climbing through Southern California or something, right? So
Mm.
people would make all these different apps. They would build games, etc., etc. Think of that explosion that happened. How many apps are there today? Millions,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
I believe the same thing is going to happen with lightweight models in AI. People are
Okay.
going to build very specific things around uh, verticals to start with: property, motoring, medical, etc. But then it's going to get more and more granular, and you're going to get somebody that builds a lightweight model for doing what I just said. Maybe hiking around Europe, and you're going
Mm.
to be able to ask it questions. Right? Okay, I just finished a hike in southern France, but I want to move on to Italy. Give me the top 5 hikes I should do, but plan it in a way that I can move from place to place. Oh,
Mm.
and along the way, recommend accommodation, etc.
Right.
Very specific. So think about apps even moving forward into lightweight ecosystems driven by contextual searching.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
very bullish. I'm very bullish. And if I wasn't building places, and I would be so excited about what I could build, because the world's your oyster.
Yeah.
And you know where I would probably start? I would probably start in an area that isn't so attractive. Like here's an example: um, building merchants, right?
Mm.
People come into the building merchants and say, "Oh, I need 2x2 joists. I need 6 of these type of screws. I need blah blah blah." Imagine you took something like that vertical, and then built a lightweight model for inventory for when builders come into a merchant's, and then they just type in what they want, and boom 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 boom, everything's there, package ready to go for them. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm actually now freestyling on this podcast about what opportunities there are. There's
Yeah,
no
but
limit to what
I mean,
opportunities there are.
just continuing that thought, you say, I want to build a garden shed 2 meters by 2 meters. What do I need? And
Yeah,
it spits out all the materials you need. It sends it to the builder supplier, and you go there and pick it up. Oh, and here's the recipe of how you build it.
Yeah, there's no, and like hobbyists, like
Yeah.
this is really just the first thing that came into my head. I'm not interested in kites at all,
Mm,
but I'm sure there's a community that are obsessed with kites, about every
sure.
type of string that they use with them, every type of fabric, everything. So there's going to be somebody that's going to put all of that kite information
Mm,
into a lightweight model and monetize it
mhm.
for the community. That we could sit now and probably come up with 50 businesses in five
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
But this isn't you being lazy. For everyone listening, it's not as easy as you think. Trust me, we've been
Mm,
through it. You can't just plug ChatGPT in, because ChatGPT will hallucinate, and it will continue to do that and give wrong information. Does it know about kites? I'm sure it does. Does it know about all the different type of strings and fabrics? I'm sure it does. Is it going to be able to go out and package it in a usable way? No.
mm,
At best, it will give you links to resources. Here's something I found on Wikipedia about fabrics of kites. It's not going to package it in a way for that industry. So I
right.
think we've done it. Places has done it in F&B. We created a lightweight model. If you type beach, I want to go to a beach club in Google right now. The simplest of things I can think
Mm,
of. It's going to give you some map links to some places. It's going to give you some links to resource, Time Out Magazine's favorite beach clubs for 2024 or something. But
mhm.
it's not going to package it in the way that Places does, which is there's 57 beach clubs in Dubai. Here they are, bum, 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 all the information, photos, menus, information. You can then add a bit more context, just the ones on the Palm or just the ones with valet parking, and it's like shh, shh, shh. So
Yeah.
the experience can never be bested by Google, because it's a search platform for everything, right? It can't be
Right.
beaten by Instagram, because Instagram's a photo and video sharing stuff that
Mm,
also people might search or see stuff for beach clubs, but it's
yeah.
it's not dialed in. It's not vertical specific, and this is why if you're passionate about a business, think about how you could take your business into the next few years, bearing in mind, like the App Store in 2007 with the original iPhone, bear in mind that everything's moving to contextual searching in lightweight models. What business can you build? What are you passionate about? Because don't
Mm,
build a business you're not passionate about.
right.
Like, we're obsessed of our business. I love the data. I'm a foodie. I'm a massive foodie. All of the team are. So we're building something we absolutely love. I study data
Mm,
all night, every day. I love it.
yeah.
But don't build a business you're not passionate about, because that's
Right.
also going to trip you up. It's going to be very hard. But I'm
Yeah.
sure everybody's got a passion in a specific vertical or industry.
Right. And then, yeah, find out the model that works. Get the product market fit and then build it.
Yeah.
So, so where's Places now? And how far along are you? I mean, the app is live, right? And you've got all of the restaurants on there. And are you have users? And are you growing? Tell us a bit about where you are.
Yeah, with us, because we knew where the future's going to be. So instead of focusing too much on just building another discount app or another app for booking restaurant tables, etc., by the time you've built all of that, this context searching and people are going to continue to move towards this. We would have then been a year, 18 months behind. So
Hmm.
I said, let's build the engine first. Let's get all of the data, build the model. We actually went officially live the end of October.
Okay.
That was our official launch. We had a soft launch for a limited amount of people before in the summer. We needed to do that because we actually get better with usage. So each time somebody writes something, it actually helps to train our model and make it better. So
Okay.
one example, somebody wrote, I don't know, a couple of months ago, show me places in DFCM, and our model couldn't understand that and just returned the places that we had, so all of them. So our system picked up on that, and our data and engineering team is like, okay, what's DFCM? And then we saw that the next search that person wrote was show me places in Festival City. So then we're like, all right, Dubai Festival City Mall, DFCM. And then
Ah,
what you do is you create what's called an alias.
yeah.
And one area can have a huge amount of aliases. So you can have Festival City Mall, Festival City, Dubai
Mm,
Festival City, Dubai Festival City Mall. So the model eventually gets trained that all of those things mean the same thing. And
yes.
you can do that with areas, and you can do that with menu items, dishes. So
Mm,
uh, vine leaves are also known as wine leaves, are also known as dolma, are also known as warak al anab. So it's the amount of information. Every time something comes in, it helps to train it.
mm,
And you also have to understand context. So if I said margarita, do I mean pizza? Do I mean sauce? Do I mean the cocktail margarita? Is it
right.
an alcoholic or non-alcoholic cocktail? So
Mm,
this field is ever growing, but we're now at the point where our model's pretty good.
okay.
Um, but it will always learn even basic stuff. Like for the OGs out there, we all call Barsha Heights TCOM. You will never get me calling Barsha Heights Barsha Heights. It's TCOM, always
Okay.
was. Places understands TCOM as
Yeah.
Barsha Heights and vice versa. So we're at that stage now where we focus really on the data and the engine. We've then moved in, we've put all the table reservation links in. So you can book a table pretty much anywhere that takes booking a table. We're now giving you the next stage, which is the more advanced menu. So when you go to places now and you click on a menu, on virtually every menu on the planet, if you write coffee, if the menu even has a search capability within it, most digital menus don't actually. But if you write coffee, it will do a simple keyword search. It will go, okay, what menu items have the word coffee in them? Ours
Yes.
doesn't do that. When you write coffee, it's looking for, yes, the word coffee, but it's also looking for macchiato, cappuccino, flat
Ah,
white, Americano, everything.
right.
It's another level of intelligence,
Mm,
same as I just said with vine leaves. It will see if dolma's written in the menu.
yeah.
The other thing is our interface runs in English and Arabic, so you can search the whole app and change the interface to English or Arabic. Amazing for this region, but you can also search in 170 languages. So you can write in pure Japanese. I want a
Yeah.
cafe nearby me in Al Quoz. The interface can only be set to English and Arabic, which is fine for people anyway. But you can write in 170 languages:
Mm,
Chinese, Japanese,
well,
Russian, etc. So now we've built the engine. We're now starting to plug in all the utilities. As I said, you can book a table. You've already got things, obviously, like all the menus and directions and photos and
mm,
everything in there. The stage after that, we then start to tie the bow on it for you by we'll build out payments and finish the journey for you. Um, we'll also add a lot more social components in there. At the moment, you can make lists
mm,
and share them with your friends. So, Herman, you could make your favorite steakhouses list in Dubai and share it with me.
okay.
I can follow that list. So, as you update it, as you add new steak places, the app will alert me and say, hey, Herman just added Prime 52 Steakhouse to
Mm,
his list. And I'm like,
mm,
oh, that's interesting.
mm,
So, we'll start to add more social features. We'll start making, we want to put you in a places bubble, really, where you pick up places to decide around the highest frequency thing that you want to do, which is eat and drink. We've no intention to move into things like food delivery. That's a whole new paradigm in itself, and it's not something we're
yeah.
interested. But we are interested in connecting you for food delivery. So maybe you search for a pizza in JLT, but you decide, I'm not gonna go to Pitfire tonight. I just want to order it online. You'll have right in front of you the delivery companies that order to Pitfire, etc. So that's our goal, to build out the best possible interface with the best possible data, so you have everything in your hands.
Mm,
What's near you, what you're particularly looking for. Like I used places yesterday. I wanted a sports bar to watch the football.
Yeah.
And I was meeting a friend there, and he wanted to play pool. So I said, show me a sports bar that's near me that has a pool table.
Hmm.
Boom, done. I pressed share, sent it to him, said, meet you here at 8 p.m. We'll play a few games of pool, grab something to eat, and watch the game.
Yeah.
And go on and on and on. I'm looking for a cafe to co-work from. I want to go and co-work from there in Jumeirah. It's going to find you a cafe that's good for co-working, that has power sockets, Wi-Fi, good coffee.
Mm.
This is where we've moved to, and it's very hard. It's very hard for Google, who has to be everything. It's very hard for them to
Yeah.
compete. It's very
Yeah.
hard.
But I see it. My question is, I mean, the amount of data that you're working with is just insane, right? The data points,
Well,
if you have every restaurant's, just the number of restaurants, and then every menu item, and ensuring that every menu item stays accurate. So, I mean, is there a back end for the restaurant owner to kind of update their menu, or how does that work?
great question. We knew to move the flywheel, we had to do the heavy lifting. So everything's done for every place,
Hmm.
not just the popular places like the Pickle Burger or the Cheesecake Factory or stuff like that. Even a small shack in
Yeah.
Dera selling carrot tea, we've added. We've put everybody on there. This is stage one. They have a cloud-based dashboard where they can control everything. When they're ready, it's for free. We hand it over to them. They can update their photos, opening hours, menus. They can control everything, even put their own features, discounts, anything they want on the app. We have a pro version of it that gives them more power. They can do more features, add video, do other stuff,
Yeah.
which is less than 10 dirhams a day. But the seat at the table is free for every place in town. That's how we wanted to build it. The app is always free for the user. The app is always free for the place as a base level.
Mm.
Um, we also the fact that in a very short period of time we've got all this data together and managed it. We know what we're doing. I'm not going to give away all of our secrets, but
Sure.
we have systems for checking if places close, open. Menus don't update as much as you think, actually, because people like digitalization. They like QR codes on the table, but they also like having a physical menu. Even me, I think the future. I'm encouraging people building in this space not to force people to use QR codes. Let's build a hybrid environment. Let's give you a QR code on your table for the people that want to use it, but please bring me the menu,
Yeah,
right?
I agree with
I'm
you.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm paying for an experience to go out. I want the
100%.
chair
Yeah,
pulled out for me. I want the
yeah,
nice lighting. I want to open a menu if I'm on a
yeah.
date night. I want the experience. So as a tech leader and an innovator in this space, we're saying as a company, let's do both. Because
Hmm.
I tell you why both works really, really well. In some instances, the waiter hasn't come over to you yet, so boom, you're quickly in. Especially in a cafe, I want to see they've got Americano and a toasty or whatever. But also sometimes you have your main course, and of course they've taken the menus away. So
Yeah.
instead of waiting for somebody to come over, I can quickly scan, or in our case, you don't even have to scan a QR code. Just go onto the app, punch in the restaurant name, and I can view the desserts. So when the
Mhm.
waiter comes over, yeah, I'll have some profiteroles. Very nice, right? So I believe, and this is being driven more by millennials and Gen Z than actually Gen X and Boomers. This is a big
Okay.
debate online that we're looking at the moment. More millennials and Gen Z, they want the feel of a menu. So what
Interesting.
I'm getting at is places don't change their menu every week. Okay, they might
Mhm.
have daily specials in some restaurants, etc. But that's where digitalization comes in. The fact that they can actually update that part of their dashboard and it's live in a second. But
Yeah.
most you'll see, even if there's inflation like we've had over the last couple of years, they'll update because they have to maybe once a year, twice a
Mm.
year if you're really lucky.
Mm.
And we have methods for checking that and to see if that happens. And then when you move into the transactional side of business, everything takes care of itself because the nature of being transactional, the place themselves has to maintain that. that information. So
Yes.
the problem even gets less of a headache as time goes on.
Yeah.
But remember, that's our business, by the way. We've
Yeah.
built an entire team around data.
Right.
So, that's our MO. Our MO is to have the best data. So if you go on now, I can very quickly off the top of my head, Public just opened a new cafe on Master Al Arab next to Burj Al
Yeah.
Arab, that new development. We had it in our app as soon as it opened. There's restaurants in downtown that opened in the last couple of days. They're on straight away. That's our mission. Our mission
Right.
is to make sure the speed at which we move. I'm not going to say we're perfect because that's arrogant, and no one on the world, Google's not perfect.
Sure.
But if you set your mission each day to be the best you possibly can, the result for the people we care about, our app users, the result means that in most cases they get exactly what they want in 700 milliseconds, which is how long it takes for results to appear on the
Yeah.
Places app.
Right. Okay. So at the moment you're covering Dubai. What is the future look like for Places? Is it something that you want to take to other cities in the UAE? Is it something you want to take internationally? What is your vision?
Well, one of the things that is very important is a lot of companies, they'll build a product, they don't get the traction they hoped, and they think the answer is going into another city or actually adding verticals. Please, I'm not picking on anybody, but this is an example of what I'm going to give next. Businesses launch, say, in this space, start with an app for doing, I don't know, discounts on food and beverage. They throw a few hundred restaurants in. It doesn't work. So then they go, oh, the answer's got to be leisure. Let's add gyms in there. Let's add beach clubs or staycations or whatever. And that doesn't work as well because they've done it half-heartedly, thrown a few in there. So they go, the answer must be going to Abu Dhabi. And then they try and launch in Abu Dhabi and the whole thing falls over. Look, we're not going to do that. We're like, but before we add in anything else, let's get all of the places in there around food and beverage. And let's be very good at doing that, first of all. Let's build all the other components that we want to build, as I said earlier on, within the product. And once that's really moving, once we've got super traction and everyone says, hey, in Dubai, I just use Places. That's what I use. Then we can go, and we will go to Abu Dhabi because the advantages are obvious. If I've got Places in Dubai and I go to Abu Dhabi, I can say, hey, show me cafes nearby that I'll like. And because Places has understood what I like, it's going to give me some amazing results. And then, of course, the same if we go to Jeddah, Riyadh, Doha, Kuwait City, Bahrain City, because that's where we want to go out towards the GCC. But we've also got eyes on going east.
Okay.
I've got friends in Singapore saying, Matthew, launch this in Singapore, they're going to go nuts. I've got people in Sydney saying, launch this in Australia, they're going to go crazy for this. So you got to keep your feet on the ground. Although that's complimentary, and we're getting a lot of compliments in many things, but we've done things the right way. We're focusing on just making this product sing and dance in Dubai first, and not be distracted by people wanting us to come to Saudi, etc. We also did a sensible thing. We trademarked our name, so we own the name Places. You want to build an app or a website and use the name Places? Sorry, you can't do that. It's trademarked, a registered trademark. So we focus more on protecting and building and getting everything right first. That's experience, I suppose, but no, we're in no rush to go. Maybe later this year, the very end of 25, we might be in a position to go to Abu Dhabi. And believe me, I want to go to Abu Dhabi, but I'm not going to go there until the time's right. But yeah, the longer term vision is to roll this out. The great thing about our brand is it's bordering agnostic, right? I mean, everywhere's a place. Everywhere is a place. So whether we want to go down and add complementary verticals in, like cinema, like spa days, that's up to us if we feel, as long as it doesn't distract us from the core thing. Or if somebody that acquires us wants to go and expand it into more stuff, which people have already talked to us about, so staycation and stuff like that. It's Places, right? Everywhere's a place.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many directions that you can get pulled into, as you say. But I think your approach of really maturing the core app in one place where, it's here, it's a place you're very familiar with, and getting all of those aspects really, really well matured, and obviously building the brand to a point where people was, it's just the default behavior is they just go to places for anything dining related.
Look,
And you,
we just launched. We just
right,
launched, right?
right.
And look, there's something we don't even talk about yet, but it's there. 1 in 10 people have allergens, dairy intolerance, nuts, etc. Do you want to know something incredible that's never been done anywhere in the world and is now available in our app? Go to your profile in Places. You can tell it if you're on a kind of diet. I'm on low carb. I'm vegetarian. I'm vegan. You select that. When you search, you'll only see low carb items on the menu, or you only see vegan. But one step further, you can go to allergens,
Mm.
um, gluten, dairy. When you go onto any menu, it hides all of the items because we've done allergens for all of the items.
Wow.
But even on religious grounds, so if you're Hindu, you can say no beef, please, no veal. You won't see it on any menu. So if a
Mm.
menu's got 500 items, you won't see any of the beef and veal. So you can make a quick decision what you want to eat.
Mm.
If you're Muslim, I don't want pork, I don't want alcohol. You won't see it. You
Hmm.
won't see it. Um, this is a game changer. And even we've done what's called reverse allergens. So you can actually say, show me gluten-free cakes near me. It's going to find, show me sugar-free cakes near me. It's going to find that. So it even does what's called a reverse allergen. So you
Yeah.
can hide gluten, etc., but you can also search for specific things. So this is where our headspace is at. We're thinking of cohorts of people with allergens.
Mm.
We don't even have time on this call to talk about tourism. Imagine landing in Dubai,
Yeah.
downloading Places, saying, these are my allergens and diets, and then having the entire city in your hand. Show me uh, bars in the marina with a rooftop so I can see the Ain wheel, or show me places that have a view of Dubai fountains because I want to have my food. I'm a tourist and see the fountains going off. You can do that today on Places. Go and write that.
Mm.
Show me places with a view of Dubai fountains.
Mm.
We haven't even talked about the 20 million people that come into one city. So if we've got nearly 4 million residents, if we've got 20 million visitors, who's in a damn hurry to go to Abu Dhabi when your
Yeah.
product's not mature enough?
Yeah.
I don't
100%.
know.
That's yeah. And the more you talk, the more I'm thinking of possibilities. Just yeah, transport and okay. Now I want to go to this restaurant, but because I don't want to drive because I'm going to have a few beers. So order me a cab, to get there. And I mean, there's so many ways you can expand the functionality of it. So wow, I'm very excited for you to see how that
I,
goes.
I'm not going to talk publicly of what we're building in the next 6 months, but if you love Places now,
Yeah.
somebody came into our office yesterday, right, and they said, tell us a little about your company, etc. And then I said, look, you can do this. I said, what's your favorite food? And the guy said, mutton curry. I said,
Mm.
okay, type it in. I want mutton curry. Boom. Every mutton curry with every price in the entire city. He was overwhelmed. And I went, put it more specific in an area.
Mm.
So he said, okay, I want mutton curry under 20 dirhams in Dubai. He just looked at me like I was Harry Potter or something. He said, how are you doing this magic? How are you doing this magic? And
Yeah.
I love that. I
Yeah.
got goosebumps now on this
Right.
call because this
Yeah.
is why we built it. We want to build it because we want to make this experience. But when you layer in that we've thought very considered about people with allergens, etc. Nobody's done that. There's a massive market alone for helping people that have this.
Mm.
One girl, about a friend of my wife, about a month ago, I told her about these allergens side of things that was coming. And she said, all right, I'm going to catch you guys out. I'm going to catch you out. So she wrote places with tahini. Okay. And then she clicked on the item and she saw it says sesame seeds. And she said, you've just blew my mind. I said, why? She said, because my daughter has an allergy of sesame, and tahini's made from sesame seeds, and
Yeah.
nobody tags it. She said, where you're going is undisturbed. We're very passionate about family. Family's everything. Of course, it's everything. But we have, even on our app, if you go under the section family, good for families, etc., we put pets in there. So, but when we think of pets, we don't think of dog friendly. We've gone out and we've verified every place that allows pets, but not just outside, but inside, because now it's nice to go and sit outside in a garden and have your dog with you. Yeah, amazing.
Right.
The weather's like 21 degrees,
Oh,
perfect. But in August, it's really hard to leave your dog, your pet, at home on a Saturday. You can't take your pet out because it's 40 degrees, but places allows you to say, find me a cafe in Jumeirah that's dog friendly inside.
yes.
Boom, 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 boom. There's the answer. So we're
Right.
very considered about all the different cohorts, people that love their pets, people that have allergens,
Yeah.
and then people that are looking for specific things. I want a quiz night, it finds it for you. I want to go salsa dancing, it finds a salsa night.
Wow.
This is where we want to be. This is where we want to be. We care deeply about what we're building, and we care about the user. And that's why we love feedback. When people write to us
Yeah.
and they say, we can you do this, or this didn't work, or we would like it to do this, we're all ears. We're not defensive. And we
Right.
just started this journey. When you build a business, you should have a horizon for the next decade. You're not going to build a business and sell it tomorrow for $1 billion. Let's
That's it.
get real. You should be building it for a different reason anyway. We're building it because we want to build the best damn experience in dining discovery anywhere on the planet. Not in Dubai, not in the Middle East, anywhere on the planet. And please, if anyone's listening, if you find a better app for dining discovery anywhere in the world, let me know who it is, because I'll learn from them, because I haven't found one.
Yeah. um, we're Matthew. We're running out of time. I think you said you've got your next
Yeah.
12. So
Last question from you.
last words. Last word. Any last words from you?
Well, if you've got no more questions, my last word is, if it's around the entrepreneurial journey, build something that you can be passionate about, even if it's something new. But please build something around passionate. Find a support network. Have people around you. Particularly build a company with founders. Prove the concept first. If you can't prove it, get out of it and think of something else. Know that it's going to be the hardest, loneliest, toughest thing you're ever going to do. And some days you'll question your own sanity. But believe me, this time shall pass, and there's going to be great times ahead of you. And don't let anyone talk you down. There's going to be naysayers. There's going to be people that tell you this business won't work. It's been done before, whatever, If you believe in it and you've proved the concept and it's working, they're just jealous. They haven't got the guts to quit their job and start a business. Remember, mostly everybody's got an idea, but who executes? Who really has the guts to go for it? So, and on that subject, if you think, well, I don't want to leave my day job, although I believe in what I'm doing, prove the concept in your spare time.
That's it.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up your day job.
Right.
I've got friends that have got incredibly successful businesses. They build on the side for at least 12 months or more. And eventually, when it became enough that they could move over, that's when they gave up their day job. Were they working like 15, 16 hours a day? Yeah. Did they believe in it? Hell yeah.
Right.
So,
Keeps you going. Yeah.
yeah, but it's been amazing to be on here and share a little bit of a story. Go to placesue.com, have a play with our app. We've just got going. It's only going to get better.
Fantastic, Matthew. So thank you so much for making the time to join me today. I'm definitely going to go and try a few different searches there and see how I can put the app through its paces. But thanks so much, and we'll talk soon.
And good luck on this podcast. Wonderful. I look forward to being a viewer next time.
Thank you.
See you,
Cheers.
everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.